Chair recognizes Councilman Jones, who will present a resolution recognizing the Please Touch Museum. With Trish Wellenbach and those accompanying her, please join the councilman at the podium. And joining the councilman, we have Councilman O, Councilman Greenlee, Councilman Dom, and Councilwoman Reynolds Brown, and Councilman Taubenberger, and Councilwoman Gim, and Councilwoman Blackwell.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Oh, come on. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Yeah, it's much better. Councilman Johnson wakes us up with his morning greetings in caucus, so I figured I would add that component today. It is my privilege and honor to welcome from the 4th District the Please Touch Museum, but they are a regional asset. So every council person in every district, in every county surrounding Philadelphia is a part of this particular presentation. And the reason we're honoring them today is that they are opening up an exhibit, an art exhibit, which I think has more relevance today than in recent history in our country, considering the leadership in the White House. I'm just going to say that it's America to Zanzibar, and it chronicles the historical art exhibits and art pictures that particularly illustrate Muslims in America. And when I thought about this presentation, I quickly went to two pieces of art that mean something to me. One of them, and I put it on all my colleagues' desks, is Yero Muhammad. And he is, if you follow his story, a former slave. And as history predicts, he was from a wealthy family in the west coast of Africa. Because they believe that because he knew how to read and write in Arabic, but also some English. That made him valuable when he was enslaved in Annapolis. He eventually, good news was, he bought his freedom. But I would have never known this had it not been chronicled in a piece of art. I would have never known that contribution and that struggle, that sojourn in the diaspora of slavery that included many tens of thousands of Muslims who came from countries in Africa who celebrated and were religious in that regard. Second one, which, you have this in your office? And this is the Moor. And this was particularly important to me when I decided to run for office. I worked for a corporation called the Philadelphia Commercial Development Corporation. And I'd done a fairly good job, and the board of directors said, well, if this doesn't work out for you, Jones, you can come back and work for us. So I told them no, fill the position. And the reason I did that was because of his inspiration. When the Moors went into Spain, the chieftain immediately said, burn the ships. And his followers said, well, wait a minute, how are we getting home? So he pointed at Madrid and said, that is your new home. And that exhibited a certain degree of commitment to the task at hand. And so those were two pieces of art, and there are hundreds and hundreds of illustrations in our American history that shows the contributions and trials and tribulations of Muslims in America. And again, I'll end on what I said in the beginning. More than ever, it is important to recognize that contribution. Jewish Americans and Muslim Americans are the most persecuted religions in the world. And that is a fact. And so when we learn to quickly at childhood learn to understand each other, not demonize each other, learn to play things like games together, like at the Please Touch, it creates a lifetime of understanding that serves us throughout our adulthood. And that's why this is important. And therefore, it is my pleasure recognizing and congratulating Trish Willenbach, she's going to get me, and the Please Touch Museum on opening their exhibit, America to Zanzibar, a vibrant exhibition celebrating the diversity of modern and historic Muslim communities across Philadelphia and the world through art, technology, and interactive programming, which will be opened to the public from February 2nd to September 19th, 2019.
Thank you. Whereas the America to Zanzibar Exhibit is the first project under the Please Touch Museum's new initiative to address relevant social issues and represent Philadelphia's culturally diverse populations, and
whereas the purpose of the exhibit is to counter the prejudice American Muslims increasingly face, open broader dialogue for families around diversity, promote understanding and acceptance, and serve as the basis for future exhibition development around other contemporary social issues. And
whereas Philadelphia has one of the largest Muslim populations per capita of any major city in the United States, as there are an estimated 200,000 Muslim residents and over 50 mosques throughout the city. African American Muslims constitute roughly a third of the American Muslim population and 85% of Philadelphia's Muslim population. And
whereas the exhibit will highlight the uniqueness of these populations through voices from the community and ephemera from Philadelphia's Muslim households, as well as artwork, performances, collaboration with Muslim leaders, and partnerships with local museums. And
whereas the goals of the exhibit are to introduce children and their families to diversity and commonalities in contemporary Muslim communities in Philadelphia and across the country and the world, provide a safe and positive space for children and their families to discuss Islam, demonstrate how cultures have peacefully coexisted for centuries, and prepare children to become global citizens. And
whereas the Please Touch Museum will partner with research labs and academic institutions to develop a research component to the exhibition that will measure its impact in areas including empathy, prejudice, and respect for diversity in young children, as well as the impact of parent engagement in helping children understand and deal with contemporary social issues. Now therefore be it
resolved by the Council of the City of Philadelphia that it hereby recognizes and congratulates Trish Wellenbach and the Please Touch Museum for opening of their America to Zanzibar exhibit, which will run from February 2nd, 2019 to September 19th, 2019.
Further resolved that an engrossed copy of this resolution be presented to Trish Wellenbach and the Please Touch Museum as further evidence of the sincere appreciation and admiration of this legislative body.
Bravo.
And the chair recognizes Ms. Wellenbach for remarks.
thank you. Good morning. In case you didn't know, I am Trish Wellenbach, and thank you. And I want to invite all the students from Belmont Charter School to come and experience this exhibit. I will personally give you the tour. You call my office and we'll walk you through. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the staff of our beloved Please Touch Museum, it is my honor to accept this resolution acknowledging America to Zanzibar, Muslim cultures near and far, a groundbreaking exhibition that, as you heard, celebrates the contributions of Muslim communities from ancient times to present day, from around the globe to the city of Philadelphia. Thank you, Councilman Curtis Jones, our dear friend and advocate, for introducing this resolution to City Council and for your tireless support of our Please Touch Museum. You are a steadfast champion for children. You believe in the importance of early childhood learning, and you inspire us to continue in our mission to be a leading 21st century children's museum that prepares children for success in the classroom and in life. Please Touch Museum is part of the fabric of our entire city. We value our connection to all the communities of Philadelphia and commit to continue to hold ourselves accountable to one of our guiding principles, to be responsible stewards of Memorial Hall and to be good neighbors to the Parkside community. Thank you to Councilwoman Blondell Runner Brown for joining Councilman Jones on the drafting of this resolution and for your endless, never-wavering advocacy for Philadelphia's children and their families, including your staunch advocacy for early childhood education as well as arts and culture, and how those connected can create more vibrant and engaged children. To Council President Darrell Clark and all the members of Council, thank you for sharing our belief that experience and understanding other cultures is a way to promote acceptance and help prepare children to be global citizens who work, play, and live in an increasingly interconnected and interdependent 21st century world. We are grateful to our visionary sponsors for encouraging us to think boldly and consider the infinite possibilities that could be created through America to Zanzibar. The Pew Center for Arts and Heritage, PICO, the Exelon Foundation, Bank of America, the Pennsylvania Historic Museum Commission, the Connolly Foundation, the Christian R. and Mary F. Lindbeck Foundation, and most especially the Mayor's Fund for Philadelphia. Through this process, we engaged over 24 scholars, artists, community, and religious leaders with deep ties to the Muslim community to join us in this work, some of whom are here bearing witness to this moment. They were a critical part of the team that worked on the programming, audience development, community engagement, and outreach. We invited community in to teach us how to do this. The exhibit is a joy to experience. We're grateful to the Rosenbach at the Free Library and the Penn Museum who loaned us objects such as tiles and ceramics and watercolors and a Quran that dates back to 1852, 24 years older than the museum that we reside in. We engaged artists who created magnificent pieces of art that were inspired by children in communities who did work around art together and taught adult artists how to make art. And possibly most importantly, out of respect to the Muslim community and their faith practice, we have created a prayer room, a safe space where Muslim children and their families can see their faith reflected with joy and respect, and where all visitors, regardless of their faith, can explore and learn about the Muslim faith in a joyful way without fear. As you heard, America to Zanzibar will be at our museum for 7 months. We expect tens of thousands of people will experience the exhibition and programming and leave with a new appreciation for how diversity brings opportunity and how embracing difference helps us all become better citizens. How proud we are as a museum to have our work recognized by City Council in this way. From the beginning, we believed that America to Zanzibar would have deep impact on the Please Touch Museum. What we believe now, 2 years later, is that it has the potential to be transformative, not just for our museum, but for our city and beyond. Thank you for this honor. Have a lovely day.
Mr. President, I would be remiss to recognize the fact that Councilwoman Parker has a masjid that she visits all the time. Councilman Johnson has one that he visits. Councilwoman Bass has one, or two, actually, in her district. And Maria Sanchez has several as well. And in recognizing that, I should have probably had everybody up here reading this, but I wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Bediz.